So, second video I'm making or live streaming of my sourdough journey. This is tough. It's kind of scary baking sourdough bread because I've tried for a while and it hasn't come out right. Nevertheless, today I made this bread, sourdough bread, right? The recipe I used came from another content creator. His name of his page is Sourdough Made Easy. This is making the bread in one day. However, it's not really one day if you don't do it in one day, right? It's two, because I made the bread late in the afternoon yesterday, actually early. And you have to let it rise. And the term they use, which is one thing I'm not crazy about, is called bulk fermentation. I used a starter. I think I showed you guys everything yesterday. This was my starter, and I took it straight out of the fridge. So Sourdough Made Easy, if you know anything about sourdough or if you ever tried making sourdough, it's difficult. You have what's called a starter, which this is, right? All kinds of crazy terms. Anyways, going forward, here's my dough. I'm going to take it out and do what is called form it, right? So when you form any kind of dough, when you form it or make it up, you want to have a little bit lightly floured surface. Not too much, just very lightly. The thing about flour that I heard another person say is that it's like glue, right? It keeps everything together. I mean, think about it. The majority of the recipes are flour, right? You have more flour than anything else. So, with that in mind, I'm going to take this out. You can see the bubbles on the bottom. See that? They call that the crust, which is crazy because you think the crust would be on the outside, right? So these bread makers and bakers, when they make their bread, they cut it afterwards and they show the inside. And that's called the crumb, which is weird. Okay, so I'm going to take this bread out. I have a little scraper tool, this right here. I've seen other ones that are nicer. Anyways, you pour it out, right? You need a little help getting it out because this thing's kind of heavy. I think bakers are kind of strong because they do stuff like this. And it can be difficult getting it out. And then this should be enough for one loaf, maybe even more. Okay, now it's coming out. It's like, comes out like lava, really slow, right? Because what I'm going to do after I take this out and form it is I'm going to put it back in here and let it bulk ferment some more is what they call it. And that's another thing that was confusing to me because when I first heard that term, bulk ferment, what does it make you think of? I mean, fermentation, yeah, but bulk is a whole nother word. You think that you're making a bunch of dough, but you're really not. You're only making your one batch, whether it's one loaf or 20 loaves. But bulk fermentation is supposedly the time it takes for your dough to rise and ferment. That's because it has, I don't even know the name of it. It has stuff inside it, right? So now this is a little sticky. That's what the flour does. It helps it not be so sticky. All you're going to do is basically form this, right? Roll it into a ball. And it does not look like it's going to work for me. But it is what it is. Now, a lot of times, it's really too sticky, it feels like. You can use a scraper like the one that I just had. Ones like this works pretty good. But I'm basically gonna, all you do is you make this into a ball. And that's another thing. They don't call the dough a ball. They call it a boule. B-O-U-L-E, which is like, what, you don't know how to say ball correctly? I don't know. But either way, this is what I'm trying to do right now. Make this into a ball. But you basically turn it back in on itself by rolling it and turning it. Supposedly this strengthens the dough, but it doesn't look like it's working for me. Excuse me. Like I said, you don't want to use a lot of flour because flour is like glue. But just keep working this. That's the weird thing about dough. This is real sticky. His dough did not look this sticky when he formed it. This might be a fail. A live fail. A live stream fail. Check it out. This is pretty ooey and gooey.
It's 10:08.
The funny thing is that what I've seen on all of these people baking is when they, even though it looks sticky, when they, the term is called stretch and fold. When they do that, it makes it come together a little more. I don't think this is going to work. I might end the stream, but we'll see how it turns out because it doesn't seem to be forming very well. Another thing I've learned by watching these different bread makers, excuse me, is that when you get the dough stuck on your hand, right, just scrape it off with your scraper. It kind of makes it easy. But when I make tortilla dough, I make tortillas, for example. When the dough is loose and it's not really formed well to where it doesn't spread out like it's doing now, when you start kneading it and mixing it, it comes together. I guess there's some sort of, they call it activating the gluten or something like that in baking terms, baking bread, but I'm no bread expert. I'm just trying to make some bread. So, this bread is not formed. The guy on this Sourdough Made Easy, he does everything, makes his bread in under 10 minutes, which is crazy. He uses a timer, so he actually does everything in under 10 minutes, but he uses a different dough also. He uses a blend of wheat dough and bread. They're both bread flours, I believe. Anyways, this isn't working for me. Either way, I'm going to try it. So you let it stretch, right? It ain't working for me. But when you do this, it does seem to come together a little better. I don't want to knead it. I don't want to do any of the things he says you don't have to do. But I'm doing it anyways because it's not working for me. Hey, Ward. Yeah, I'm rolling in the dough, Ward. Actually, I'm struggling with this. I don't know if you've ever made sourdough bread. I have a sister who makes it, and she's trying to help me. But she lives far away. She lives in another state. She gave me a starter, and I ruined her starter. It was like a 9-year-old starter. Most people talk about their starters. You hear my dog do it.
Quiet. Quiet.
But anyways, I messed up her starter. I tried making my own starter. Everything that I've done regarding making sourdough bread has been a fail. The dough and the breads that I have made, they came out flat and heavy. They kind of looked,
What's wrong?
they were gummy and gooey. So anyways, this isn't forming in a ball like the guy's doing it. But I'm sure he's been doing it for a while longer. So you can hear the background noises in my house. My wife homeschools my daughter, so she'll be a genius. What? How long have I been on? 11:20. Okay, so yeah, part 2 exactly. But you know, the funny thing is, Ward, this is supposed to be a 10-minute. He does everything in under 10 minutes, and it is not working that way for me. But my wife and friend have been encouraging me to keep making the bread nonetheless. Now, I've done some tortilla videos on here, and everything worked fine because I've been making tortillas for a long time, but we're not always successful when we do things, right? And what do they say? The only thing that beats a failure is a try. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to work this, but it doesn't seem to be working. However, when you put it together, right, like when you stretch it and bring it back together, that's when it starts to form more. And as I said earlier in the video, remember, flour is like glue, so you don't want to put too much flour in it. You basically work the dough some more. And that's another thing, when I've seen people making their dough, they don't use a lot of flour, and they pull it and stretch it, and then it forms together, which is, I don't know why it doesn't work for me, but it does. I mean, you can see all the dough in my hand, right? How sticky it is.
Ooh,
Hey, Thomas.
Where are you got bugs in there? Take it outside. Take it outside. I don't know. Take it. Oh, here. Come grab this. Whatever it is. I don't know. What is it?
It's a beetle. It's a gym beetle.
Oh.
A beetle? I don't want a beetle.
You saw it before, Gabby. The green beetles.
I want a beetle.
My bad.
Yes, this is a real house with real people in it doing real things. All right, so much for my 10-minute sourdough meeting. Does this look easy to you? Oh, by the way, as you can see, I'm a Raider fan, so it's tough being a Raider fan because I got our butts kicked last night. I say we because most Raider fans say that, even though they're really not part of the team. They're just fans, diehard fans, not fair weather fans. So, oh, that's good to know, Ward, that your wife and you, well, I'd like to say I help my wife homeschool my daughter, but I really don't. My wife is really on it. I think she's a great educator. She's helped our daughters through all of their schooling, whether it is homeschooling or in regular public school, which is pretty good. Very, very involved. You know, the more I move this dough, it seems to be coming together a little more. So I think this is going to be not necessarily sourdough made easy. It's made difficult. But as I pull the dough, move it around, it does seem to be getting a little firmer, which is good. And I don't want to use a bunch of flour in it, like we said, because flour, supposedly, when you start adding more flour, and that's another thing, we think that as we put more flour, it's going to become more solid, and it will, but a lot of times you don't always need to do that. Has anybody ever made bread or something with flour and it just didn't come out right? Believe me, a lot of people have. So I keep moving this. around. We'll see what happens. But I'm not kneading it because the guy says you don't have to knead it. You just have to form it. But for some reason, I'm sure, I don't know the reason, but I'm sure an expert baker would know the reason. They tell you, when it comes to sourdough, there's so many terms. Like I said earlier, they call it fermentation, bulk fermentation, auto-lease. And auto-lease is when you just put flour and water and mix it in a bowl and let it rest or ferment. Anytime you let dough and water rest, it starts fermenting because apparently flour has, shoot, I don't even know the name of the terms, but it has stuff in it that when you put it together, it, I don't know, it starts forming. So this is getting really more difficult for me, and with all the background noise and everything else, it doesn't really help. But it is what it is. So I'm going to end this live stream because there's a lot of background noise, and I don't want you guys to hear all of that. But I don't know what's going on with this dough. It's not working. So that's just it. Thank you guys for watching and being here. We'll try it again another time. Have a great day, you guys. Yeah, you can end it right there.